Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Nate and Nate's Vintage Trains. In today's video we are back at Kansas City Union Station, about to continue on our trip east over to St. Louis, Chicago, and finally Cleveland. So, before we get started on our journey, let's take a tour of the beautiful Kansas City Union Station. The original Kansas City Union Station was built back in 1878 in a different location from the current station. Now, as the city grew, since Kansas City is the second largest rail hub in the United States to Chicago, there was definitely need for a much larger station. So, in 1914, this current Union Station was completed. It boasted over 30 tracks, but most of which are now gone. These tracks were led directly to the various railroad companies that served the area. These railroads included the Chicago Great Western, Rock Island, Union Pacific, Missouri, Kansas, and Texas, Missouri Pacific, Santa Fe, Kansas City Southern, Frisco, Wabash, Burlington, and Milwaukee Road. Also, the Alton Railroad. The main entry hall has a very tall vaulted ceiling, and there is currently a restaurant where the old ticket booths used to be for where you could purchase tickets. The AMTRAK area is where the new waiting room is, but the old waiting room is the large hall now used for music events, or various venues that need a large space. Also connecting to the station is the current Kansas City trolley, and I'm sure the one back in the day would have connected to Kansas City Union Station as well. The model railroad displays that are in the building are very well done. They showcase all scales, G, HO, O, N scale, even Z scale. The main waiting hall has individual doors that would have led down to each track to the waiting trains. At each door would be the appropriate sitting area to wait for your train, so you could be right next to the platform that you are expecting your train to be. Not a soul right here, and Rhapsody in Blue is playing right now. Perfect. Now, it's time to go and head to St. Louis, Chicago, and then on to Cleveland. I took the Missouri River Runner from Kansas City Union Station, which goes right through the heart of Missouri, stopping in places like Lee Summit, Warrensburg, Jefferson City, all the way to St. Louis. At St. Louis, the specific train, number 318 I believe it was, changes names and becomes the Lincoln service between St. Louis and Chicago.
Bye, Kansas City. On to St. Louis, then Chicago.
Anyway, the train left on time a little bit after 8 a.m., and we were on our way eastbound. Approaching Lee Summit. Wait till we get to the Missouri River. And we are on our way through the heart of Missouri on the old Missouri Pacific line between Kansas City and St. Louis. There's lots of woods, trees, all the small towns along the way,
nice station.
Lots of farms, and a good amount of sights from the Missouri River itself.
is on what used to be Missouri Pacific tracks, which is now Union Pacific owned. There was a nice caboose at the last station, but I wasn't able to get it in time. Warrensburg, Missouri.
To sit down. Please make tickets ready for collection if you just joined. Full service cafe is in the front, guys. Cafe car is in the front of the train. Same direction of travel.
I love the old brick buildings, storefronts. The main street's on the other side of these buildings, but still, this is really nice. Sedalia, Missouri. Still the old Missouri Pacific lines. Next stop in Jefferson City. The Osage River near the confluence with the Missouri River.
This is certainly beautiful country, much different from being in California. It's just so much more relaxing.
Near Hermann, Missouri. This was Washington, Missouri, now Kirkwood next station, and then St. Louis. There's a long break in St. Louis. I hope to see the Gateway Arch.
As I said, the next station stop is Kirkwood, Missouri. If you do not know, that is the location of the National Museum of Transportation. This is one place I've wanted to see for a long time, but I'll only get barely a few seconds of seeing it if I'm lucky. So, let's see what we can see.
The museum's coming up right around here. Let's see what pieces we could catch. There's one of the sheds. 2156. Ooh. 4460.
Alright guys, right about 5 minutes to Kirkwood.
Finally, we made it into St. Louis. There's a break here since the train needs to recrew, refuel, or do whatever it needs to do, and especially change its name from Missouri River Runner to Lincoln Service. Afterwards, we head on our way on the now Lincoln Service and head on over the Mississippi River into Illinois, and of course we see the Gateway Arch.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard AMTRAK train 318, service to Chicago. This train will be making stops at Alton, Carterville, Springfield, Lincoln, Blues, Normal, Pontiac, Dwight, Joliet, Summit, and Chicago.
After crossing the Mississippi River, we are now in the state of Illinois. We stop at places like Alton, Springfield, Bloomington Normal, and Chicago, among others. It's mostly flat land here, and we get up to the highest speed on the whole trip. Can you guess what it is?
Illinois State Capitol building.
Probably the most interesting thing along the route in Illinois would have to be the state capitol in Springfield. Man, that's an impressive building. You pass right by it when you're on the train. It goes right over the street that leads right to it. Now we start to get to the high-speed sections. Once breaking out my speedometer app again, we see reaching over 100 miles an hour. I got the highest speed at 112. Man, that was fast. Now we get into the famous city of stage, screen, and song. Well, at least where Henry Blake from MASH is, if you know what that is. Bloomington and Normal, Illinois.
Right next to a parking garage. There's another platform on the other side. Now we're in Metro territory. Chicago Metro.
Ladies and gentlemen, this stop is Joliet. If Joliet is your stop, now it's time to make your way to an exit with uniform employee.
Chicago, heading over the lift bridge to Union Station.
Now we are on the final approach to Chicago Union Station. We go over a bridge across the Chicago River
There's so many
and make our
bridges in
way
Chicago.
through Metra and Amtrak's yard. Almost all of the Amtrak's long-distance routes converge here, with some exceptions.
F40PH and the rebuilt version.
Passing by Metra's yard, we see some of their new equipment, as well as many of their gallery cars in storage. Finally, we get off the train and head to the Union Station. I couldn't see much of it this first time around, but there was still 2 more chances to see it.
Now I need to catch the Lakeshore Limited to Cleveland.
Because much of the Grand Hall waiting room was being used for a private event.
The hall is closed.
Now, getting back on the Lakeshore Limited, train number 48448, heading to Cleveland, and that's where the next video will be. Well, in Ohio, but not Cleveland, so stay tuned for that.
Finally sat down in my seat. Now it's time to go to bed, and I'll be in Cleveland in the morning. So I hope I don't miss my stop. Boy, I just have coach seat this entire trip, and I'll just make do with what I got.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Stay tuned for next week when I visit the Age of Steam Roundhouse. Please do subscribe, like this video, comment down below. This has been Nate for Nate's Vintage Trains, reminding you to keep it old school. Jesus loves you, and God bless you all.